Guys, just want to let you know we have our High on Jesus merch available on our website, highonjesus.org. You go on there, guys. We got shirts, hats, beanies, hoodies. You could show people, hey, I'm all about this lifestyle. Go on our website, order the merch. We appreciate your support.
You have to make your own road in life.
Right.
And you have to get out of your own road in life if it's not going well. I think there's a lot of help, but you got to want it by showing it and doing it. Next thing you know, I got moved. And I'm like, well, Mom, why did they move me? I was right next to the microphone. And I guess I was just belting it out.
What is up, YouTube family? We are back with another episode of our High on Jesus podcast. This is episode number 17. You are here today with Just in Time with Justin Hallis.
And Austin with a Y.
And we have a special guest today, Mayor Gene Brown. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on our show. We appreciate you. The title of today is Mayor on a Mission, Serving God in the City of Bradenton, which you do in a mighty way.
Well, thank you for having me, and I really appreciate all that you do and both of you do for our community.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, we're starting with our check-in here. This is going to air on what would be the beginning of the second week of school. So how'd school go for the first week?
Well, Tristan started at Barbara, Harvey, and Parrish.
Nice.
So she was with her dad. So I went to the school, of course, and dropped off all of her materials to start the school year. I got to pick her up. I hate not getting that first day school picture.
Yeah.
But I kind of had my gut wrenching. I was in the line, and it took her 22 minutes to get to the car. She's upstairs now. So I'm like, is she here? But it was good. And then I had the 3 high schoolers, at Manatee High. And
so you're down to 2 schools now instead of 3.
Instead of the trifecta.
That's good. save you a little bit of driving time at least.
Yes. So yesterday I called the girls and Beckett, and I'm like, you want to pick you up from school? And they said, no, we're going to walk. Well, I called them 20 minutes later, and the girls were down for a nap. And Beckett was like, they just can't handle high school, Mom. It's all right.
It's definitely different.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'm really excited. So.
Good deal.
It's gonna be good.
We're looking at school choice because we're in districted for some schools that my daughter is not going to go to, and that's Harvey is one of the ones because they opened up a high school there. So I guess is that the first school in Manatee County with elementary and middle school, or the middle school
8.
it is,
it's
K through 8. Yeah, so they have the elementary school and the high school there. So I said, hey, if you get there, you and Tristan will be going the same school together.
Yeah, next year they would. It's K through 3 and then 4 through 8 at the other campus.
Really interesting.
At first I was like 4th grade and 8th grade.
Yeah, that's
but,
crazy.
Yeah, but they really do. Barbara Harvey really does a really good job coaching them at home and at school.
Nice.
Teachers are really great.
Well, I'm happy that Layla's back in school. We got the new routine going. So we got she's in the safety patrol this year. So now we arrive at the school at 7:30, drop her off when there's hardly any traffic. So I'm in and out of there. Saves me a little bit of time. So that's nice. And the other 2 are graduated now. So yeah, I only got one more left.
It's coming.
But I like the schedule now. I can commit to things and know hey, as long as I do it before I got to pick her up, we're good. Yep. How about you, Mayor Brown?
You got grandchildren. Yes. And 15-year-old started Manatee last year, but he's sophomore year this year.
Wow.
And then we've got a 2.5-year-old granddaughter. So same mom and dad. As soon as he graduates from high school in 2.5 years, she'll start kindergarten. So they'll do it twice in a row. So 30 years in a row, they'll be going to school. But we started a tradition when our kids were little, obviously, in the early 90s, where we go to breakfast on the first day and the last day, no matter what.
That's cool.
So we continue that. So at 6 o'clock yesterday morning, we were at Peaches on Manatee Avenue and 32nd with the grandkids and all the family. My daughter couldn't be there because she works the night shift supervisor for UPS, but we FaceTimed with her, so she got in the picture.
That's awesome.
The aunt wanted to be there, and she was sad. But no, that's something, a tradition that's you lose those things if you don't continue them. And that's been a great thing since our kids started in the 90s and all the way through Manatee County school system, and now with the grandson, and we'll start it with the granddaughter in a few more years when she starts kindergarten.
I love that. I love traditions and just keeping things up.
And he loves breakfast, too.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves breakfast. So.
Of course.
A couple eggs and sausage, and you're good.
One of my favorite meals.
Yep.
Good stuff. So we talk a little bit about shoe news. I want to start doing that. So first, I wore one of the best pairs in my collection for you, brother.
Okay,
so you see we got the Mayor Jean Brown.
Yes.
I got the Travis Scott Jordan 1 lows.
Yeah.
And like I just saw this outfit. As soon as she gave me the shirt, I was like, oh my goodness, I can wear this with this shoes. And I'm like, I'm going to be with Mayor Brown somewhere special. And we got the High Jesus hat to match.
Yeah,
we are ready.
I
but
appreciate it.
yeah, of course. So one of my favorite pairs. Just go over some there. So I want to kind of bring some releases to people. I know it may not be everyone's flavor, but I love it. So I know some guys out there do. Man, this past weekend, by the time this drops, was crazy. They had the Jordan 1 low Nigel Sylvester that dropped, the Jordan 12 French Blue that dropped this past Saturday. Now this was a shoe. I even sent it to my buddy. I'm like, you had this shoe when we were younger, didn't you? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, I always wanted it. Mom would never buy it. I'm getting it. That's all I know. Jordan 5 Awake, New York, the Arctic Pink. Chris is going to put all these pictured. It's only 7,000 pairs. This is a limited shoe. You already know I got to get this one.
And you have all the boxes ready, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the big release this Saturday, the Jordan 1 Shattered Backboard. It is basically commemorating when Jordan, he was in Europe, did a slam dunk, shattered the backboard, and so it's got it's commemorating. He had like an orange uniform on, so that's where the orange came from. There's broken glass on the insole of the shoe there, and not gonna lie, I'm kind of upset that they're re-releasing this because I have the original one and it was super limited, and then they re-released it again, but that's all right. Now it gives everybody a chance that didn't have a chance before. Wayne out there, Wayne wants his pair, so we got that coming up this Saturday, and I'm going to update you with the shoe news from now on, so you know what's going on.
Like that. And of course, I've got on my cow print Ariats.
This is fire. We got to show a pic of these. Chris, put a pic of these in. She wore something special for you today too.
My cow print Ariats.
Yes.
Yep.
I like
look good.
The cow print. We're matching. We're representing the mayor.
Color,
the Mayor
perfect
Jean Brown.
color. So.
Good stuff.
Yes.
You got some news for us?
So the news.
This one I can't wait to hear because you told me about this and I almost didn't believe it, but you gotta tell me more about it. So I want to take a minute here and give a huge shout out to our business sponsors, Automatic Bail Bonds. We bail your tail out of jail with a quickness. Big shout out to them for being a huge supporter of what we do here. If you, your loved one, anyone, we don't wish it on you, but if someone you know does go to jail, Autumn and her team, they actually care about the people that they help to bail out. So please use them. They're a huge asset in this community. Journey to Greatness Sober Living Homes, preparing you for your new journey of life and beyond. They have a multiple men's and women's homes in Manatee County. And so if you're looking for a sober living house, or maybe your loved one, someone that you know, get in contact with them. All the links are below in our comments, guys. Also, Florida Elite Monitoring. They do ankle monitors and also alcohol level tracking with confidence. So maybe they're court-ordered to get an ankle monitor, or maybe they voluntarily want to be able to show the judge, hey, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing anything like that. They have all kinds of neat ways that they can help you out with some things. And then Dump Dynasty. You give them a call, they will pull up the trailer to your house. You can clean out your garage, remodel, whatever it is, fill that dumpster up, and then they take it away for you, no hassle on your end. So those are 4 different business sponsors and just businesses in the community that care and they want to make a difference.
So several posts were on Facebook about it, and as a recent graduate of drug court, I was always aware to any news that might cause a positive drug screen, just being transparent. So it said High Noon is warning some of their vodka seltzers were mistakenly labeled as Celsius energy drinks.
No. This is it?
This is it. The affected Celsius flavor is Astro Vibe. The cans were shipped last week in 6 states, including Florida. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a defense for people that get DUIs.
So you're telling me that Celsius energy drinks had the wrong item put inside of their cans at the factory, and you're telling me that it's high noon. What is? I'm out of the alcohol game for a while. What's high noon?
I used to, when I drank, I used to call them Barbie beers. They're like the flavored, you know.
Is it like the little like spritzer or something?
Basically, yes, and it's a vodka infused spritzer, and the same shape can. I think they're baby blue with like a pretty, you know, high noon thing on there.
No way.
But it says these cans, certain ones, and they were packaged into the High Noon Beach variety 12 packs, but retained this branding on here.
So this is, I can already see where this is headed. You're gonna have people. Oh, sorry. I was positive for alcohol. It's a false positive because I had a Celsius the other day, and I think there was alcohol in it.
Yes. Didn't you see the post? Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We
open it and smell it.
We're opening this one up. We're gonna put this thing to the test.
I'm not tasting it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I don't know.
Imagine like if you didn't read the article and you were just like someone in recovery and you went to the store and just grabbed a Celsius.
And I even did a deep dive into see if it actually.
I don't think it is.
Because they said that you'll smell it when you open it.
There's not much smell to it other than like a fruity smell.
Mayor Brown, you want to take a sip?
No, he's good. I don't think he would drink it. I don't think he would drink it either way.
He said no energy drink, no alcohol for me.
My wife says I have enough energy, much less that. So
that is crazy.
How it would make me feel.
But could you imagine if? Because I mean, alcohol is my original, DOC, and if I drank that one and then it led to others. But even if that's not what it was, it gets in your brain. Well, I already drank once. I don't know. I would be extremely upset.
Yeah, I would be spitting it all over the gas station is what I would do.
You've already played the tape.
I got a funny story, actually, from this exact thing. So this was years ago. So it was probably like my first year or two sober. So, you get to finally go to some nice restaurants, have some fun with the fam. So we go to, it wasn't Daruma, but it was another brand of where they cook in front of you at the, the little, the hibachi tables, right? So at the end, he's kind of messing around. You know how he shoots stuff into people's mouth or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, you want a drink?" And so I guess I wasn't even computing like what he was saying. It was like a squirt bottle. I thought maybe it was a joke. So he's like, "Oh yeah, open." So I open, and he squirts it into my mouth, and as it goes in. This all happens in like a quarter of a second, but it hits my tongue and my brain processes. I'm like, this is sake, and I was like, I stood up and I was like, and I spit it all over the restaurant. And he was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, "This is sake." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Bro, I'm an alcoholic. I can't drink any of this." And he's like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." I spit it all over the restaurant. Everyone was looking like, "What is going on?" I was like, "No way. I'm not going out like that, man."
We're gonna have to ask Bonnie about it too. When she goes on again.
All the cameras there.
Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean, honestly, that's how much that I protect my recovery and take it seriously because I'm not going out like that. I don't want to drink. I don't want nothing to do with that. Yeah. I'd probably do the same thing with the Celsius, spit it out all over the gas station. Crazy.
But I just thought that was crazy. I mean,
that's a big mistake, man. I'm surprised that like someone's, I don't know, maybe there's a lawsuit coming or something's going to happen.
Well, that's why I wanted to make sure it wasn't fake news. So I kept researching it to see if it just wasn't somebody, took a picture doing a fake post or
kids drinking energy drinks in middle school,
and they all look
drunk
the
at
same.
school.
They're both attractive. There's no skull and crossbones or anything on it.
Crazy, man. Wow.
Yes.
I assume somebody got fired off of that one.
So
we like to do what we call a comment crawl. So it's a little segment that's pretty cool. It's we kind of share two heartfelt comments that people put on our podcast or our previous videos that we had aired, and then we got like someone messing with me or rocking with me or whatever it is for a little comedic purposes. But the first one from Sarah Joe, who we know well, all caps, "Bring Bonnie, please." Like. And this is like the 5th request to bring Bonnie back on the podcast. And so I think we decided we're going to do that the next one. So we got this one more, and then when we do our guest episode for episode 19, we're bringing Bonnie back. So Bonnie's coming back for round 2, y'all. Make sure you don't miss that. And
she and I were on the phone this morning already plotting.
Oh my goodness. So. They think it's hilarious because I'm like, there's these funny like even reels that have been going around posting. It's like I'm like the nice, like everyone talks to me, and then Bonnie just keeps it raw and real and blunt and tells it exactly how it is. And so they think it's hilarious because she like rocks me and has fun with me. And
just a preview, she wants to know why you have tattoos of everyone else but not Bonnie.
Oh my goodness.
That was our conversation this morning. So just a little taste of what's to come. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So maybe you need to schedule a session soon, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man. We'll have to figure out something. So this one comes from, it's a heartfelt comment. So the name's a little funny. It's Lil Nuts 59. We're talking beforehand. We're just gonna go with these a little crazy. He says he says this was he got raw and real on our channel. He said, I'm trying to get straight with God, but every day it feels like I'm getting further and further from him. I'm in a real dark place where I don't want to be, and it feels like my own mother doesn't understand me or love me anymore. I honestly don't know what else to do, but I keep believing there's a God that would take me out of this and show me the right path. It's hard to even respond to some of those type of comments when I see them. Don't know what all he's going through, but it was on a short about experiencing the true power of God, in order to believe. And so I just said something like, man, it sounds like you're in a really rough situation, but you just have to, whatever you're going through, man, just try to find a way to believe, to have hope. I mean, we talked about that a couple episodes ago. Like, you got to opt on the side of just believing that God is out there and he's going to help you through whatever that you're going through, and just don't let this be a place where you give up and say it's all against me, I'm all alone. And though that usually leads to something bad from there. But I mean, just he's saying he's getting further and further away from God. Feels like his own mom doesn't love him anymore. So I know sometimes we talk about, some people say, hey, I feel like God is so distant, and I truly believe it's usually us that walks away from God. God's usually standing there, and it's us through our choices, through our getting busy, or just whatever it is, man. We can have good stuff happen in life, and we're not putting into that relationship like we once were. And it can cause that divide. And I know from personal experience, it is not a fun place to be.
No.
Well, I think when you read something like that, and obviously the ability to put that out there to somebody like you or in groups like you, he's got somebody to look into. And if he didn't have any place, he'd be even in a darker place and maybe even worse, like you said. But you being out there in your group and other groups, he felt comfortable enough to reach out to you. So that's a step in the right direction. And that's one of the things with what we did in the city, and some things, unfortunately, we had an officer commit suicide a week and a half ago with, a young family and all of that. And his wife did allow us to share it on our Facebook. And some people criticized us for that in the city. But you know what? She wants others to get help, which, Officer Butterfield was struggling for a while. We don't know the demons he was going through, but one of the things through his funeral and all of that, hopefully other officers will reach out. Hopefully other people will reach out in this and find God and do the things that can help that next level, next step, because it's not about what's already happened. It's about what we go next. And if we can help somebody, that's the important part.
No doubt.
Amen.
Yeah. That's, I commend you for that. I err on the side of putting it out there also. Some people, like, their family member ODs and they don't want anyone to know about it. We need to tell people. I get that it's embarrassing or can be, hurtful possibly, or shame, whatever's associated with it. But I think people need to know that this stuff is real, man. And, is there any lead into this? Like, did anybody know he was struggling, or was it?
Yeah, there was some, it was over the time, and he was getting help. But unfortunately, ended up where it was, but who's the next person that we can save?
Right.
And like you said, when you look back in a situation like that, we've got to help the family now. We've got to be able to see what we could do better, and I say we as a community, not just one individual, but and see where, and God was in his life, but we don't know everybody's circumstance at the moment, but we got to make it forward, pay it forward, and do more for hopefully we don't have to be dealing with that again. And obviously, police officers in that situation are the number one suicide in the country right now. And, and you don't know how much of it is faith-related, drug-related, other things. But try to look for those little things we can help and build on them. And when something happens, build on that. And I don't know when we'll get into this, but with my brother, it was a long struggle until Zack finally overdosed and died. But it was about, I always look back on that and think, what could I have done differently? Yeah. Because, and I mean, I feel guilty there. Maybe I should have been tougher. Maybe I should have been not so distant because I was 22 when he was born, so I was already out of the house. But he was more like a child or a nephew. But you still look back, and 5 years later, and my mom's 3-year anniversary of her death was last year. But I know she's with Zack, and she's up there probably driving him crazy, over the time you think, because she loved him so much and wanted to be there. And the last 10 years before he overdosed was a tough time for her and our family. But what can we do? We can't change what's happened. Right. But we can try to build on what we can make it better so it doesn't happen to the next person. For sure. And I think that plays in with God and the different things and who you can look to. That gentleman right there sounds like, he's questioning it, but he's still asking for help. Yep. Amen. And you got somebody like you to help him. So that's very important. For sure. Thank you, brother. Well, my man, I hope you find help. I hope you find something local to you. If you're here in Bradenton, Manatee County, we'd love to have you at our High on Jesus meetings and everything that we do. But reach out again, man. We're here for you, and this doesn't have to be the end for you. So this one comes from Leon Cardinal. 2035. I was wondering if we knew him, and I was going off on a point. A lot of the stuff comes up in shorts because they only get that one little clip, and I was just passionate about what I was saying. It was about Christians stabbing each other in the back, and he's like, what is with the slang, brother? And I guess I went back and I watched it, and on one part I said, they doing instead of they're doing. I don't know. Like I was just going off, man. We still got maybe a little street in us from long ago that pops out from time to time. Well, you were stepping into that character, if you will, Yeah. And I remember I was sitting there. And it just there's some things that I feel passionate about, and what kills me is to share with you. It's like, man, we get enough hate and and obstacles from people that are anti-God, and they say, you don't want to go in the comment sections of some of the stuff online. They say the most horrible things about God. So you got that whole people that are opposing you. But then on top of this, so you think at least we got our brothers and sisters in Christ. I get more negative comments from Christians about being a false prophet and I'm speaking it wrong or whatever it is. And it's man, this kills me. We're supposed to be a light to the world. You think we should all get along, and so we could show others, but they see us arguing and not getting along with each other, and that just drives people from even wanting to come to church. I was gonna ask you, have you ever just been talking passionately about a point and maybe not gotten some words correctly or said something that maybe you wanted to retract? And as we know, and God, Jesus, it's not about the perfect world. It's about what you make of it at the moment, and how you help others. And if it's not perfect, that's okay, because, he was made perfect. We weren't. And that's how we're going to make that next step to help the next person. And, a lot of things that we're doing. In government, sometimes it's separation of church and state. But that was one of the first things I said when I became mayor. We will still always do our pledge, and we will always do our prayer before the meeting. Amen. And that's awesome. We see it now. We actually, the chaplain for the police department is doing some, services at times for our city employees. you don't have to go. If you don't want to go, don't go. But there's an available time because, and we started it just before Officer Butterfield passed away. But I wish we'd have started it earlier because maybe it could have helped him a little bit. And again, it's your choice, and everybody picks different ways. But we're going to at least have the availability for you to come in and be with our chaplain at times and,
That's awesome.
and really save it. The police department's had it for a long time, the fire department, but it's opened up to the rest of the city employees now, and just really to get what you want out of it, because everybody has moments, and we have weak moments and we have strong moments, but what's the right moment to make your life better, and that's what we're there for.
Hey, y'all, you've heard us talk about our nonprofit Hand Up to Victory. I am here to tell you that it changed my life. I don't know where I would be without it. So below is a link to handuptovictory.org. Please click on that link and go to the donations tab. You may save a life, change a life. And I am living proof. We have our gala coming up in November. We would love it if you could be a business sponsor. If your in-kind donation could be raffled off to also change a life or save a life. So handuptovictory.org. Please donate if you can.
We wanted to just kind of go in and talk about, just some, things, get to know you a little more personally about, some stuff that's happened in your life prior. The first thing, kind of wanted to ask, as your duties of being the mayor, like what areas, what duties, are your responsibility? And then also I was going to ask, what areas do you actually serve? Because I was kind of sad. I was going to my poll, my Mayor Brown shirt on, and I'm like, where's he at? I can't even vote for him.
You're in the county.
Exactly.
So
Explain that to us.
The city of Bradenton is basically 14.4 square miles. So Manatee County is obviously 460,000 residents.
Wow.
Then there's 6 municipalities inside of Manatee County. What that means is there's Longboat Key, there's Bradenton Beach, there's Holmes Beach, there's Anna Marie Island. Those are 4 of our island cities, and they all have different governments.
4, so they all their own mayor and everything.
Yeah, their own governments. Then there's City of Palmetto, and then City of Bradenton.
Interesting.
So there's 6 municipalities. Those all have their own council people and mayors. Some of them vote on an individual to be mayor, like the 5 council members. They would vote on one of them as mayor. Others have the 5 council people, and then the mayor's elected also. So in the city of Bradenton, I'm an elected mayor. And so my area is the 14.4 square miles. So basically at large for the whole city. That starts out at Perico on Manatee Avenue.
Okay.
And zig and zags and all up and down the river. Goes a little farther south to Cortez Road in some areas. Then goes all the way out underneath the interstate in that subdivision out there.
Really?
But you could be on Manatee Avenue and have a city residence or city business on Manatee Avenue, and the business right next to it is not. So it kind of
so weird.
It does zig and zag. And then there's what's called unincorporated Manatee County, which is what our 7 county commissioners do. And as we know, there's 5 county commissioners that are voted in their zone.
Okay.
So you wouldn't be able to vote for them unless you lived in their area.
Gotcha.
Then there's 2 at large that represent the whole county. So even though, the county doesn't tell the cities what to do, and the cities don't tell the county what to do, we still work together and collaborate and do things. Because if you drive through the city of Bradenton, you're on more state roads and county roads than are city roads. And in the city of Bradenton, 49% of our taxes go to the county. So for every $1 of ad valorem tax we pay, 49 goes to the county because they have to keep their infrastructure in the city up. So you could live on 26th Street, be in the city, but 26th Street is maintained by Manatee County. 43rd Street, 59th Street. Manatee Avenue is maintained by the state. So even though it's in our city, we still have to collaborate to get things done. And I never call and say, oh, well, that's the county, take care of it. It's how do you work together with people?
Wow.
And the county, the city, 25 years ago had a little tiff about some annexation, and for a lot of years didn't communicate or work together. Over the last 5 to 8 years, we've worked together very well, because what benefits our citizens are county residents. So in the city of Bradenton is just under 60,000 residents of that 460 that's within the county. So a lot of people say that, well, I couldn't vote for you. I didn't see you on my ballot. But it's just the location, and you're not in the city limits. You're not in it, but it's still. I look at a collaboration as us, because without us, as a group of people working together, the county can't be apart. There's going to be times. I mean, if you agree 90% of the time, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater because of the other 10% you don't. You try to come together, and I think that's where a lot of our government, a lot of our religious affiliations, churches, and sometimes it's us or them. No, it should be us. And how do we make it better for everyone as a whole? And that's very much in my heart
stuff.
And truthful.
Yeah.
And it's not about kissing up to anybody. It's about, hey, how are we going to make it better?
Yeah.
My family
Absolutely.
with my grandkids in Manatee County is 7th generation.
That's
so
wild.
I'm 5th generation, kids 6, and grandkids 7th. And, you look back on some things, and obviously I only know what I've known since I've been here, but it's really a great town, and we're going to make it better, and we're going to work together to make it better.
Yeah. You mentioned seventh gen. So actually, it wasn't until a couple years ago when I was driving Brown Funeral Home. Is that Mayor Brown's family? Starting to put everything
and I think that's one of the things I'll say in my career as a funeral director since getting out of college in 1989 and starting working at the funeral home as a 22-year-old immature young person that doesn't know much. You really look at and going through what our family went through over 10 to 12-year period, and it's been 5 years now, but looking at all the families that I helped serve, you learn from it. And you try to say, okay, because some people are religious, some aren't, so it's not my job at that moment to make them something. It's my job as a funeral director to help them through a time, worst time of their life, whether it's a tragedy or whether it's a grandma's 95 and there was no quality of life. It's a blessing that she's, not in pain anymore. But when you go through what we went through, in the late 2019, 2020, with all the overdoses we had here as the epicenter, and meeting with 5 mothers, and the mothers were from 70 to 35 that had children that overdosed. Yep. And, it was before the Narcan was out there. And, again, Narcan I think is a great thing. I wish we didn't have to have it, but it's gonna help people, give them a second chance, third chance, 10th chance, because you give everybody a million chances to succeed. Yep. But meeting with those 5 mothers as a funeral director and having funerals for their children, and the one child was 58 years old, but it's still her child. And talking to them and going through that was a tough time. And I'm looking at it and people say, how do you handle it? Well, you know what? I was able to help somebody get through a tough time. And then those mothers, once something happened, and when that little 6-year-old comes in and says, oh, this is the guy that's going to let me see my daddy today. I had to walk around the corner and get it together, because even now it's getting me a little emotional. But I look back on that, and then a few years later, obviously we're dealing with our family in the same situation, but it's about how you help people. And when you look at government, a lot of times in government, we think things are so just napalm, get them done, or it's so bad, or this person's bad. I may disagree politically with somebody, but you know what? We're always going to agree on this. That's what we're going to do to help somebody in your heart. Yep. And if you can't look through that, then you shouldn't be in government. You shouldn't be helping people. You shouldn't be doing anything. And you know what? You may mess up 1,000 times, but that 1,001 time might be the time that saves you.
That's real. Yeah, that's got to be. I can't imagine, seeing that much death, honestly, and just like sad stories. That's got to weigh on you, as a person being in that field before you started doing this. But yeah, I guess that's a good lead in. So you don't mind, your family was in that business. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of death. And if you don't mind, would you share a little bit about what happened to your brother and what he went through? Going
through a lot of that and dealing with it. Before it was our family, we knew, Zack in high school, 18 years old, which would have been probably graduated from high school in 2010. One of the things I'm going to say about Zack is he was kind of an only child because we were all grown, but, had a great family network, had nephews and a niece, my daughter, that were all the same age, and they are all within 2 years of each other. So they grew up 5 kids playing together. So, Zack was the one that probably wanted to help everybody, wanted to be their friend, wanted to get in it. And I really believe that he got tied into something because people took advantage of him. Now, I am a believer too that you have to make your own road in life.
Right.
What and you have to get out of your own road in life if it's not going well. You save yourself. Zack when he was dorky dumpy Zack, you knew he was normal. When he was skinny cocky Zack, something was going on.
Yeah.
And my parents, had the means at the time and probably spent $1 million on rehabs and different things, and I thought they worked for a while. And probably about 24, 25, he was working at a bar in New York City and teaching the sobriety class at a church 3 nights a week.
Wow.
So I think that, and he was dorky dumpy Zack in a way that was, you could tell that he wasn't on drugs. And that was for about 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Had a relationship breakup from what we understand, and got a new girlfriend. And I'll say it right now, and I would never change this, I don't believe, but a lot of people say, oh, marijuana's okay. Well, some people, like, they can drink a beer and that's one beer. They may be able to do one marijuana joint or whatever and they're okay. But if you are somebody that's been on drugs,
yep,
and you go back to that gateway part of it, and that's where we think happened. And when he got new girlfriend and she just smoked a little pot, from again, all of this is speculation from what we know.
It makes sense from doing what we went through,
right? Yeah. And so that kind of then, just do a little bit of that,
right?
And then the next, and then it was the cocaine and the fentanyl, because it was the heroin and the fentanyl at first, but there was cocaine and fentanyl with marijuana in his system, and coming from New York and what he was, that probably two things, and I'll say this because it's so impactful with that, is when my dad called me and said, Gene, can you get here? And he's crying and said when I got there, he said, I asked the guy, could he give him one more Narcan just to try? And the EMS said, it's just can't, he's gone. So you think about that. And then my mom, after 10 years of worrying, the Saturday morning, died on a Friday. Saturday morning, went to the house and was talking to her and just said, how you doing, Mom? And my dad had gone to the grocery store or something. It's just her and I at the house. And she said, last night was the first night in 10 years that I slept all night, because she wasn't worrying about him.
Yeah.
And that's always what gets me, and the last thing I said to her was, go be with Zack, before she died. But it just gets me emotional thinking about that. So, but again, for 10 years, she was waiting for that phone call, but you got to grow stronger. I can't change it, but can we tell people about it? Because the one night that I remember the most at the house before Zack moved to New York and was good, and then the medical examiner told me that by the way his organs were, he could tell he had been clean for a long time. So that if he had been a 10-year drug dealer or druggie, that your organs would show it. And so that was something that made, at least he had some good time in his life and going through it. But you think about that time when my mom and I tackled him and kept him in the house, because she said, what do you want me to do? Let him just go and die? And that was before he kind of got clean, that we know. So anyway, talking to you, talking to everybody else, don't go back. It ain't worth it. And what's that? Worse. Yeah.
And honestly, that's the story that we hear every time with ODs. It's not someone that's using all the time. It's like they got clean for a little bit and then they found their way back to it and their tolerance isn't there anymore. And, they go out. Because I'll break the stigma with you, here today on the show. A lot of people think like, oh, they're putting fentanyl and stuff and they don't know about, well, that may be true to a certain degree. Most our people know they're getting fentanyl. Like, that's the drug of choice. I'm buying the fentanyl. I'm using the fentanyl. It's not a surprise to anyone. But they don't die because they have a tolerance. They do it every single day.
Once it was changed, plus it was not heroin and fentanyl, and had other people that we've known that were doing stuff somewhere else come here, and it's different, and that's the tolerance.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman tell me that, and he I believe is passed on now, but he was in his 70s. He came to the funeral of Zack, and he said to me, he goes, for 33 years I did cocaine, from like 16, 17 years old. And he goes, I got off it clean. And then for the last 35 years, I didn't want it. I didn't need it. Nothing made it. I was clean and I felt so much better.
Awesome.
With the fentanyl, you can get off it, but that's one thing. So some of the things that this country does over the years that doesn't try to stop the flow of fentanyl, shame on us.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a good point now where that is trying to happen. And
Absolutely.
again, politically, you can not like people but you got to like consequences and things that come out of those consequences. And hopefully we can stop that. And you're never going to stop it 100%. But let's try to knock it down by 50%.
Yeah.
And that's not politics. That's lives.
I'm with you on that because I know people that know big time things like that and basically said that we were the laughing stock. They were just hundreds of pounds across the border. Like it was like, it's just putting it across all day long. So, yeah, that's not cool. We can't have that for sure.
To relate to, you talked about your mom sleeping good that first night. That was one of the things that when I was incarcerated for those 80 days, that first phone call to my mom, and she was like, hallelujah. And I talked to her the next morning, and she actually, thank goodness I'm still here to talk about it.
Yeah. But
I could hear it in her voice that she was just glad that I was, could stay away from all the things that could harm me. So
I've heard that's from multiple moms when their kid's finally in jail or something like that happens. At least they can sleep for a little bit because they know where they're at. They don't have to worry about them. But tragic story. Well, I appreciate your support of Hand Up to Victory and everything that we do. We do everything that we can to not have other mothers have that same exact story. And, I truly believe that having that outlet for someone that at least does reach out and say, hey, I really want help. I don't want to continue down this path. And the response time of doing that in a very quick manner to help someone, we think is the key to stop these overdoses and, to give someone a hand up towards living a better life. So appreciate your transparency and sharing that with us. That being said, to make it through stuff like that and everything that you've seen in your lifetime, how do you feel that God guides your life and your leadership with what you do for City of Bradenton?
Well, one of the things that always has stuck with me, I grew up at the boys club because my mom and dad had started our funeral home, and really, we're working 24/7. There was no cell phones, no anything else. So somebody always had to be at the building to answer the phone. And it's not like, you can get the call the next day. That phone had to be answered 24/7. So I was fortunate to have some great leaders at the boys club at the time. Now it's Boys and Girls Clubs in Manatee County. And just really, went to our church was right down the street, Christ United Methodist, going there. Some great youth group people there, always getting in it. One thing, I'll tell a quick story just because it's funny, and as you get older, it's even funnier. But so, I was in the church choir and the Christmas choir.
Nice.
So, I'm up there just singing as an 11, 12-year-old boy on the church choir. Next thing you know, I got moved. And I'm like, well, Mom, why did they move me? And, they just probably had to move people around. Well, come to find out, I was right next to the microphone. And I guess I was just belting it out. You learn those things as a kid in church. But I was singing, and I guess it didn't sound very good, so they moved me. But I'm glad I didn't know it then, because I'd have been petrified to go back. That was a story my mom told me years later that I don't know has come up. And
your heart was
in the right spot. But I'm never going to sing. I'm not going to sing a national anthem or any type of song anywhere on my own.
No Marauders games.
No Marauders games. I'll throw out the first pitch and bounce it.
Yeah.
But those fun things, and I always enjoyed. I was a very shy, nervous young kid, but going to our church, going to the Boys and Girls Club, and Boys and Girls Club wasn't faith-based, but the people there were faith-based, and always, you don't have to wear it, and I don't wear my faith on my sleeve as much as others, because I think we can get more done by showing it and doing it. And that's one of the things. So just loved being involved in that and how you can help people. If you're helping people, then the next step goes and going from that.
That's what God calls us to do.
But again, do the right thing for the right reason when nobody's looking. It's easy to do the first two, but it's when somebody's telling you what you're going to do. And I even look at it at the funeral business, a funeral director helping families, because again, I can't change that moment.
Yeah.
Whether it's a 5-year-old girl that gets run over by a drunk driver and killed, or whether it's somebody that, like I said, is 95, had a great life, and is ready to be with God. but I can help that family at that moment. I can minister what I can do. Again, not from the standpoint of preaching to them, but getting them in a spot where that can make tomorrow. Because tomorrow they still have to wake up and do all their stuff. And I talk about the little 5-year-old girl that got hit by a car by a guy going around barricades and running her over 2 years ago. And the toughest part of that, and I met with the family, was a friend of ours, the employee that worked there and did all the with the family. But and again, I didn't have to, but I wanted to, because it's about in your heart. But looking at that mom and dad that still had an 8 and a 1-year-old, tomorrow morning they still got to get up and take care of that 8 and 1-year-old. And that brought me back to when a 35-year-old overdosed 5 years earlier, and his 2 little kids and the wife who overdosed with him but lived. Because they, for that before Narcan, so she, for whatever reason, you got little 5, I think they were 7 and 3, 7 and 4 at that point, running around while their mom and dad are both overdosed on there.
Wow.
So what are those kids thinking? But to me, it's about what we can do to change that moment. Again, I can't change what happened, but I can help them, and you hope that things get better for people.
Yeah.
Because you can't change it, and that's where God's got to play into their mind, and from there go on, and I can just hopefully guide them to that next point.
For sure. How big of a problem do you feel addiction is in Bradenton, and do you have any type of plans for homelessness and stuff?
Right. Well, Manatee County and the city of Bradenton, city of Palmetto, all of the islands, municipalities working together. We've got a great collaboration with our Manatee County commissioners, the staffs, working through with the sheriff's office, with our police department. There's a lot of plans going on, and a lot of them are in. Government takes too long. Whether it's traffic, whether it's anything else, it takes too long sometimes. But we can see some of those things coming together. The county, the sheriff's office, with Fresh Start Manatee, with Salvation Army, we're working things. Salvation Army right now has all of the men. If you drive by the Salvation Army, it looks terrible out there. And we know most of that is probably drug-related more than anything else. Oh, yeah. And some people want to do that. Some people want help. There is a lot of help in Manatee County. We've got Turning Points. We've got all the groups that Centerstone, everything. There's a lot of help, but you got to want it.
Right. Guys, just want to let you know we have our High on Jesus merch available on our website, highonjesus.org. You go on there, guys. We got shirts, hats, beanies, hoodies. You could show people, hey, I'm all about this lifestyle. Go on our website, order the merch. We appreciate your support.
Whether it's the first time, miraculously, nobody gets help on the first time probably. But it's 2nd, 3rd, 10th, 20th, 40th. Finally, you've got to make that decision as an individual. Some of it is mental. So how do we work that? But our county government, our city governments are really working well together to come up with the Fresh Start. The sheriff's office is going to run over off 26th Street East.
Nice.
Turning Points, which Turning Points is a great organization to help people try not to get to homelessness. Because if they don't get to homelessness, then they might not get to the drugs. They might not get to all, so again, helping. We're working with them in collaboration with the county to try to really change some dynamics around Lecom Park. We're putting in some fields. We're putting in a community center.
Nice.
Because we know that some of those things that run that community center is not the best neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And people have bought drugs there. People are getting drugs. Some of the older drug dealers try to keep their thumb on some of the neighborhood younger children there. Wow. So if we can put it in their face and say, not here, we want it to go away. But, you can only try to save children now. And even give an opportunity for the generations that aren't even born yet to be into a positive. Salvation Army will turn into the family pod over on 57th Avenue. They've got the woman facility that should be opening up.
Nice.
So, and this is collaboration with the city and the county. Everybody thought it was the city of Bradenton's problem because that's where all the services were. Well, yeah, it is in the city of Bradenton, but we're still Manatee County. And once we started collaborating with our great commissioners, and everybody, it's a thing that no matter who's in the seats, me included, it's got to continue on to help the individuals because we're never going to end homelessness totally, but if we can give as many opportunities to succeed, then we're helping people. And whether it's mental, whether it's drugs, there's some people that just want to do it, they just want to live on the street.
Yep, we encountered that.
And that it has nothing to do with drugs or anything else, but how do we work to give them the best opportunity to succeed? And we've got a great county commission now. We've got a great city council. I think we got a great mayor, hopefully, that keeps working with people in that positive light. And I think within months and couple of years, you're going to see such collaboration to help people. So we'd love to put the Salvation Army, Turning Points, and all those out of business. Yeah, because that means we don't have any problems. But it's going to be something that'll be there forever to help when you do have that moment. And we've got, like I said, Turning Point, Salvation Army, all the groups that are in that type of field is doing such a great job, along with our county government and our city governments.
Good stuff. Love it.
Oh yeah.
So I got one. So is the Bradenton Police Department? They only operate in those city limits also.
Right.
Is that how that works?
We have the sheriff's office, which sheriff is the whole county. Right. Their budget is through the county government. Like I said, we participate as citizens, the city. So the sheriff's office can go anywhere, but we've opted in the city of Bradenton 100 years ago, whenever it started, was to have their own police force. Now, we work together. The task forces, crime reduction team, narcotics teams work, because just because I'm on this side of the street or that side of the street, the drug dealers don't say, oh, I'm in the city or the county. Right. So we work together to do it. But the city, and that you pay a fee, and when, our taxes in the city, we have our own garbage collection. We don't hire it out. We have our own fire department, where the other fire departments around the county are fire districts, so it's paid differently, but we have our own city police department. Gotcha. So those are services. Your city taxes may be a little bit more percentage-wise, but you don't pay all those other fees. But you have our own, not to be better than anybody else, but just to give a little bit more of a quality of service in those areas. Sometimes we do great, sometimes we don't, but we're working to actually get better every day and really streamline some of our services to make it where if there is something, we're there to help. But Manatee County Sheriff's Office, City of Bradenton Police, Palmetto has their own police, Holmes Beach has their own,
Holmes Beach,
Bradenton Beach does, and then Anna Marie Island has the sheriff's office that covers it, and then the sheriff's office covers the rest. Wow. But it's a big, vast area.
Well, thank you. You've answered a bunch of questions I've always had here today. So,
absolutely.
Thank you. Good stuff. Yeah. All right.
I have one question. Okay. When and how did you feel called to run for mayor?
So it starts back in the late 1990s, 97, 98. Young kid, I wasn't that young, but really doing it. I volunteer for a lot of stuff on the kids' SAC, the PTO, always involved. Still to this day, I'm on the Boys and Girls Club board. I think I started that when I was 8, they say, because of going through as a kid at the club and then going back and forth and doing it, just helping children. Well, I was coaching sports, and there was an opportunity to run for a city council seat. Some drama going on in our city. That's when some of the things happened with Perico and annexation and different things. And, somebody said you ought to run. I didn't really want to, but it was like, okay, it's an experience maybe. And I lost. And I never want to lose anything in life. Sometimes losses teach you something, though.
Yeah, we know.
And so you got to lose. And I was I was doing that at a time that really wasn't ready for it. But it was a great experience that I learned about the city. Wow. So, you got little Ryan and Rachel standing on there, little kids and my wife and all. And my wife said after that was over, if I ever do that again, she'd divorce me. So, but in a comical way, because I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, still doing it, still working full time and running for an election. Wow. And, like I said, it was a close election, but it was one of those things. It's a great learning experience. I wasn't ready. And I wouldn't have got to probably coach my kids, do the things that you would. 5 years at Bradenton Christian School as the softball coach, teaching, hopefully.
That's where I've seen you before.
Yeah, so, through Bradenton Christian with the girls softball. And I'd always tell people, coach boys and coach girls, and you'll see life's ups and downs for kids.
No doubt.
Because boys, Justin and I can be playing on a baseball team together, and you stole my girlfriend today. We'll go play baseball to win, and then I'll kick your butt afterwards or whatever. Girls, if you steal their boyfriend, they're not going to play for you. They're going to do it. So you learn life lessons. So that was something that I really Because I coached at Manatee High School for a few years on JV football and Little League baseball, and then for 20 years I was coaching.
Wow.
And in 2012, June, there was an opportunity that in the ward I lived in, same seat, we still lived in the same house from there, and I got a call from a council member at the time, and he said, "Hey, this seat's opening up, and we think with what you've done, and you're a great person. It's really something to get into." And I was in front of Bradenton Christian School going to softball practice, and my wife. So I said, "Well, I got to call my wife because I remember what she had said 12 years earlier.
Better check that out
I better
first.
check that out." And so I called her. And she said to me, I'll never forget it, said 4:30 on that Thursday afternoon in front of Bradenton Christian School. And she goes to me, "Well, you sound like you want to do it." And I kind of got quiet, and she goes, "Are you there? Are you there?" She had to drop the call. I said, "Well, I expected no, not, are you sound like you want to do it?" So I got in that election.
That's
and
nice.
It was an open seat. There was 2 people that ran against me. And one of the things that was just so fun is the 2 old people that were running, great people, a little bit older, but out of about 13,000 votes, I got 9,997.
Nice.
So to me, it wasn't that, cocky about it, but it's like saying, hey, people brought into your message. Because my message has always been what I think I can do to help our community.
It's good.
Never about criticizing anybody else or negative and all that, because you still have a business here in town too. And it's not about, what your politics are, what you believe in, or that. We're here to help somebody at the worst time of their life and a funeral part of it, but that's my whole life, and that's what I still want to do. But I don't ever want you to have to use us, but if you do, we're there to help. So fast forward 7.5 years, there's a lot of drama on the city council from one individual that is just being so negative about everything. Again, whenever I'm in a room, I know the room if I'm politically aligned with them a little bit or not. But and I'll say this, we don't always have to agree politically, but we're going to agree we want to make a difference. And if we can work together, we can get more accomplished than separately. So phone call rings on that Saturday afternoon at 1:30 that the previous mayor wasn't going to run again, but he thinks that, I might be opportunity. And I said, well, let me talk to my wife and my dad, because obviously the funeral home, it was going to take me away from the funeral more than just being council member. And the 2 reasons when my wife and I talked, I said that I would do mayor is I could change the culture of the negativeness on our city council.
It's good.
And that I could make a difference generationally for our children throughout what we do.
It's good.
And I changed the culture with a great group of people, and some of it was the tough part about it, but it never got negative on my part. And then the other was we're working down that road. And when I say culturally for generational children in that, it also works in with our homeless, with our streets and those things, because if we can change some of that, it does change some others. And I don't want, it's easy to see a homeless person or a younger person on the street and say, we're going to arrest you. But they're going to get out and they're going to be right back there.
Yep.
It's what services can we get you somewhat, your first opportunity is get help. Here's what we've got. But we don't have that right now.
Yeah.
With our county government, with our county commissioners, with us, we're this close. When I said we're getting close, I would think, like I say, within months to have services. But it's about changing that because they have kids probably, and it's not always about money. We had a gentleman that if you saw him on Cortez Road and 26th Street for years, he was walking up and down the median. Smaller guy, curly long hair, no shirt on, the best tan anybody would buy, but he was there. Well, he unfortunately got arrested, was at the port, and obviously when you get out of the port, if you don't have a ride, you got to walk.
Oh, yeah.
And Peggy's does what they do, I've heard from my brother, but, that's not maybe always, it's a nice offer, but it is what it is. But unfortunately, a UPS truck's mirror hit this gentleman and killed him. Well, our funeral home got the call, and we found out later his daughter we finally got a family member contact. He had several $1 million in the bank.
Wow.
So it's not about money. It's not about it's
That's
mental.
crazy.
So all these things in life, so what got me into it? I could go on forever, but what got me into these things is how we're going to make a difference for a person. And, when somebody passes, it's not just, they're gone, doesn't matter, they're not on the street anymore. What about their family?
Yeah.
And she didn't know where her dad was. Maybe if she could have found her dad earlier, he had the money to do stuff.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
So those things are...
That's a crazy story right
that's
there.
why. I'm a story... I was never a storyteller in my life till probably the last 10 or 15 years. But it's the story that we write. And how are you going to help people? And again, we can differ on consequences. We can differ on belief sometimes. But we're never going to differ. Change a kid's life. Doesn't matter black, white, whatever. You want the kids to have an opportunity to succeed. And in some of our areas, we're not given that right now. And some of it, we can't save the world, but we can try to save one child at a time and one person at a time. And, all of us have family dynamics, family situations. And I don't ever think you want to hide it. When people hide stuff, it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. Thank you, brother.
Well, I know where I met you at Pig Out when I was working there. I had just started working for Hand Up to Victory, had a High on Jesus shirt on. You and your wife came in. And that's where I met you. So do either of you recall the first time you ever saw Justin or where that began?
Go ahead. See, you say what you think.
I was going to guess at the drug-free Manatee, the Red Ribbon event.
I think we had some communication, email or something, and then we showed up for that.
Justin did email? No.
Yeah.
That's a rarity.
Well, that's how it came to my office.
Yes.
And
I'm trying, man. I was trying.
That's why it was going through.
Trying to talk to some other people.
And then obviously there at the Red Ribbon thing and going through that and really trying to, and seeing the stories and hearing things and just, and again, to me, it's a lot of the mothers. It's about the moms.
Yeah, you saw how many family members were there that lost people. And just, again, you can't change that moment for them, but how do you make it better? And you see how people want to make it better because, when you lose somebody, you still have to wake up tomorrow and go back to life. No doubt.
And how you help them to get through that is the important part.
Well, Justin's touched a little bit on, we've been kind of in a growing stage, with Hand Up to Victory, and you've seen him grow over the last, 8 years. Is there any advice you would offer as being a great leader to another one?
Just keep doing it, brother. I mean, I know every day it's a fight. I know financially it's a fight, and I mean, it's always those things that you look back on and government is so different than the real business world. But, you inspire me when I think about it. And I mean, we don't talk a lot, but when we do, you inspire me because, it's easy for me to say something to my brother Zack, but because I've never done drugs. I don't want to say I don't drink. I'll have a beer now and again or one drink. I mean, we were in a trip, and I think in 5 days, the people that were around us were very interesting, but and having a good time.
That's a good way to
and I had in 4 days, I had 2 drinks.
Yeah,
but so it's something that every day in life is worth what you do, and that's what I see, and that's what I admire.
Thank you, brother.
Because what I do is try to help kids more and more, and I get, but I want to make that. I don't ever want to wish our lives away, but if we can get some of this stuff done with the county and the city, with these facilities, the sheriff's office and our police department, PAL doing the building, 20 years from now, this place is a better place because of you, and that's what it's about. Thanks, but I don't want to wish 20 years away.
No. He doesn't want you to.
School goes too quick. My dad used to say that when it did, but as you get older, you start thinking that more because
it goes very fast.
Kindergarten to high school goes by quick. So.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for being transparent and for educating us about how politics works around here and just sharing the vision and, just everything. My takeaway was even you wanting to be the mayor, like you had a clear goal, you had a clear vision as to what you wanted to accomplish, so it's no surprise the doors opened up for you. Amen. And, thank you so much for everything you do for the city of Bradenton, brother.
Well, thank you for both of you and all behind the scenes. What's that show where the curtain moves and all that? So everybody that's doing this is much appreciated. And in our city, in our county, and our whole community, we're going to keep trying to. Tomorrow's going to be better. The next day's better. And you look outside of all the drama that happens.
Absolutely.
That's important. So.
No doubt.
Amen.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. If you stayed with us this long till the end, thank you so much. We hope that you got a lot out of that. We hope that that spoke to you. Next week, we are coming with episode 18, and we are going to talk about the Global Leadership Summit 2025 that me and Austin had the amazing opportunity to go to. 2 days of speakers, just some great leadership principles.
Roll Tide.
Oh, yeah, sure. Nick, she was all decked out where she had the Alabama. Nick Saban was one of the speakers there. Yeah, so we learned a lot of good stuff, and we want to share that with you. So we'll see you next week. We're signing off. This is the High on Jesus podcast with Justin Time with Justin Hallis.
And Austin with a Y.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
You have to make your own road in life.
Right.
And you have to get out of your own road in life if it's not going well. I think there's a lot of help, but you got to want it by showing it and doing it. Next thing you know, I got moved. And I'm like, well, Mom, why did they move me? I was right next to the microphone. And I guess I was just belting it out.
Yeah, I was